It was in summer and I organised a picnic, just put out a blanket, bought picky bits, and we sat playing Uno in Hyde Park. And it's so easy and nice. He didn't like any of the food I brought, so red flag, because who the fuck doesn't like Doritos? Action.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight.
On today's show, I would like to introduce Talia.
Hi all.
Hi. Hi. You're fantastic. Regal, really. You like to date a lot.
I'm a serial dater.
I didn't want to say the word serial dater
Oh.
in case that offended you, but you don't seem
Offended?
offended at all.
I don't think that there's anything wrong with dating.
That's good. I also date. I date a lot. So how are you enjoying dating so far in London?
I find dating quite fun.
Okay.
Can be fun. It can be exhausting, but on the whole, I actually quite enjoy the experience of dating. I don't get nervous or find it awkward or uncomfortable.
Even when you really like someone?
I would say the nerves probably build up the more I like someone, but I also kind of just see it as like, if it's going to go somewhere, then that's only a positive thing, not a negative. So I don't really get nervous. I get the butterflies that build up rather than being nervous about going on like the second, third or fourth date with someone that I genuinely like.
In the words of Carrie Fisher in When Harry Met Sally, you really are in such good shape.
Exactly.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. How many dates would you say you've been on this year?
Not that many. I would say, wait, counting one guy with like
How many first dates?
first dates. About 25.
25. And we're in...
That's a high number. That's a very high number. Maybe like 20.
Okay, maybe like a nice round number of 20. It doesn't matter how many you've been on. What I really, really enjoy are your play-by-play Instagram stories of your dates. The pre...
Bet you didn't think I'd be here on a Sunday evening, the graveyard shift, going for a date.
You getting ready, the post, even in the middle, I think.
Oh, we love an in the middle post.
I am lucky enough to be one of those people who receive your private, close friends only stories of your dates. I want that to be public because I think it is absolutely phenomenal.
I sent a message to the guy last night just saying it's just not for me. I tried to make it as sweet as possible, but I haven't had a response and I feel so bad. My karma is going to come back around because I'm actually going on a date tonight, a second date with the other guy, to the same place that I went on the second date with the first guy. And I'm hoping this. So if any waiter or waitress sees me and they out me for being with a different guy but wearing the same outfit, I'm fucked.
I find them so funny.
I wish more than anything that I could post everything about my dates, but I feel the guys would have an issue with it rather than...
You don't have to say who they are.
Well, no, but when I take pictures on the
Oh, I
dates
see,
with
yes, you have
them, when I take videos with them, they find it fun and they interact with it. And I think the more comfortable they get, the better they feel about the date. I mean, to be honest, they don't even know I post it on my close friends stories.
Well, they wouldn't because they're not really close friends.
They're
status,
not
are
close
They're not-
friends.
They haven't reached that yet.
I genuinely say it because I say one day this could be at our wedding. And
know.
this would have been on our first date, and how amazing would that be to be, let's look back on our first date. So they love it, and it really brings down their guard, which I also really enjoy because people struggle on first dates or second dates or whatever it is. So it gives them an even playing field to be comfortable.
You are your most authentic self,
Yeah.
and therefore that allows them
Yeah.
to be. If they're the
100%.
right person.
100. If they're not the right person and I still act this way on dates, like, let's take a photo together, let's have a video together, this is going to be so much fun, it does sometimes give them false hope that it's going really well when I wouldn't say it's not going well, but I don't necessarily see it going long term, and they think, oh, this girl's really like into it because we're playful, you're bringing your inner child out. Thank you. It's still fun. They always remember that part.
Yeah.
Because I have become friends with some of them and they're like, yeah, that was vibes.
Have you ever been on a terrible date where you can't even have that kind of
Yes,
relationship? Yeah,
I have. I've been on.
Do tell.
I've never been on any terrible dates to the point where I'm like, that was horrific. But I've been on boring dates, and the boring dates where it drains your energy, and it's a lot of me talking to try and bring out of the other person. So I wouldn't do the photo or videos on a first date because it's so boring for me that I'm a bit like, I just don't care, and this is one I don't want to remember.
Yeah.
It's just been boring.
You don't want to put them in your little black book
I don't. Those are the ones I want to forget.
I was once told on a date, we went for one drink and then we went for another, and he said something like, are you ever gonna get serious? And I was like, what? This is the first date. You make a lot of jokes. And I was like, I'm sorry, pick a topic. Abortion? Let's go. Like, what? Like, what are you saying?
Politics. Let's start
Like,
there.
He actually did work in politics, so
Oh my
maybe
God,
that's
maybe why he was
fucking
boring.
tedious, yes. That was weird. What am I supposed to say to that?
I hate it when guys are like, you're too fun, and it's like, oh, sorry, didn't
Let's
realise
get
you were
down
the fun
to
police.
Let's get down to mortgages. We've known each other for 2 hours.
Absolutely not. I want to be with someone on a date who's bringing the inner child out, and you want to walk away from the date being like, that was so fun, I want to do that again.
I want to see him again, yeah.
Oh, God, that would really piss me off.
I was just
Did you
pick a
leave?
topic. I did leave at the end. Also, he was late. Looking back, this was a terrible thing.
Oh my
And then
God.
he wanted to go on a second date, and I was like, no,
No.
thank you. No.
If someone turns up more than 10 minutes late, I potentially would walk away.
Which brings me on to the next phase. We're going to play a game of top picks versus top icks.
Guys who dance give me the ick. So seeing all of these guys on Instagram at their weddings, obviously I'm not going to marry them because they're getting married, but when I see them do their first dance or I see them at their weddings, I really get the ick. Serious dancing, but like not serious dancing at a wedding because it's your wedding. Oh, is that a squirrel? Ah.
Which should we start with? The top picks or the icks?
Let's start with the picks because I feel like the icks will be juicier and therefore they have to go last.
Okay, fine.
Top picks.
On a date.
Yep.
I need someone who's funny. I love humour. I love playfulness. And if someone's going to hide around the corner and scare me on the date when I go to the toilet, that kind of thing.
I feel like that's a bit too much for the first date.
It depends if you're really vibing.
Right, yeah.
One of the guys who I'm really bored with, he randomly do that, I'd be like, that's weird.
And sexy. And sexy.
That is really difficult because I tend to laugh at pretty much everything.
I know. I'm not that funny. What the hell?
No, I know, I laugh at everything. And the guys tend to think that they are funnier than they are.
You give them false hope.
I do. Maybe that's
do.
my problem. I give many people false hope.
But it's only the first date, which is kind of
It's
everything's kind of
true.
a free-for-all because there's no commitment to having
Yeah.
to obviously treat them nicely.
100%.
But like,
I don't think there's any rules.
I have a 2 drinks rule.
As in, you will only drink 2 drinks.
2 drinks, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
3 drinks with food. If I like the guy and I want to stay more.
If I like the guy, I will cut the date short because I will leave them wanting more.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I probably would really do well with a 3-drink rule because I probably would end up sleeping with them after 3 drinks.
Yeah, that's all. That was that. No, that's why I made the rule. Boundaries.
And I will never do a date near where I live or near where they live.
Ugh, yeah. I mean,
it has to be somewhere like middle ground.
that is an ick when they're like, I live in Angel, meet me in Angel. And I'm like, why?
No. I do like chivalry, but not too much chivalry.
Okay.
So like, I borderline don't like it if a guy will pull out a chair for me to sit down because I'm like, you're trying too hard.
If someone just pulls out a chair, if you're about to sit down, you fall over. Would that be funnier?
Yeah, and it probably would be something that I would do. I'd probably trip up on a date or fall off a chair or something. Getting out the car and opening the car door for me, I'm like, just stay in the car. I can open my door.
I don't know. What
Would you not find it icky?
if you're walking on the road with him and then they move you?
Oh no, I
in-
love that.
Yeah.
If I'm walking and I'm on the side of the street where the cars are going and they take me by my waist and move me to the other side, I'm like, marry me.
The first time that happened to me, I was like, what are you? And then I realised, he was like, yeah, no, it's
Really, oh my God, yes, I love that.
doesn't necessarily a marriage make, but
No, but it's
a good
them
start.
thinking about,
you.
yeah, that's a very good one. I do like that a lot. And I need emotional intelligence. That is a top pick. definitely. They don't have emotional intelligence. I'm like, get out.
No immature dicks.
No.
If you're 27...
It doesn't matter 27
No,
or
I know.
below
I
or
know.
36 and above.
That's so true.
It doesn't matter what age. If the emotional intelligence isn't there, it's not there and it's never going to come.
Yeah, once you get past the age of 30 and it's still not there,
I'm like, you're doomed.
It's not going to arrive.
Yeah.
And you should go to therapy.
Way more people need to go to therapy than they think they do.
Oh, everybody needs to go to therapy.
Yeah, 100%.
It's so hard for some people to pinpoint the emotion they're feeling.
I know.
And in therapy, you learn how to do that. They should really do it for kids. Anyway, back to dating. So icks. Icks.
Where do we start? I hate it when someone talks about themselves the entire time on a date and I walk away from the date going, I learned about their grandma's best friend's name and their routine from start to finish, and they don't even know what school I went to.
I went on a date the other day. He said to me, I just don't like girls who are really quiet. And then he proceeded to then talk the whole time. And I was like,
Well,
no
wonder they're quiet because you didn't give her the space to talk.
Perceptive, but also a bit delusional. Yeah. That is definitely an ick.
Hate it. I am someone who does go on dates and talks a lot about the other person because I'm vetting that person as well. So I'm very good at firing questions. And equally what I'm asking them to do is answer that question and then reverse it back to me so I can ask it. But they don't often do that. So whilst they're answering, and I've realised a pattern in they're answering these questions, but they're not actually wanting to find out about me. I just keep firing questions. Is there going to be a backwards and forwards? So I think it's partly me. I don't leave enough silent space for them to do it, but I often find that they don't actually do it.
And that's not dependent on any sort of age. It
No,
could be
no,
anyone.
it literally could be the grand scale of 21 to 40, which is... Actually, I don't date. The youngest I would go is 26.
Is younger than that for you an ick, would you say?
Younger than 26?
Yeah.
It's not an ick. I just think people would be like, what are you doing? Like, are you okay?
He's just finished uni.
Yeah,
therefore.
he's in a different stage of life. Fun? No. Just no.
Considering it, maybe no.
No, maybe not.
Is that a squirrel? They'll just be really up themselves before we even go out on a date. Yeah, surely you want to go out on a date with me because I'm so good looking. And I'm like, and humble.
Have you had that experience where they say that?
I'm having it right now.
With the guy you're current...
Just, yeah.
Oh.
There was another guy, I cancelled on him because I was ill, and then he cancelled on me again. I was like, this is just not going to happen, whatever. And then he said to me something like, just let me know when you want to go out with the funniest or the coolest person out of all your dates. And I was like, what? That's not going to make me want to go out with you.
I don't mind it if they were joking around themselves and being like, let me know if you want to go out with like an averagely good looking guy.
That's quite funny.
Like, that would be funny. But if they're like, no, like, you will
I'm
be going
clearly
out.
better than all your dates.
I did have someone actually who did message me saying, in response to one of my prompts, because one of my prompts on Hinge is, something you should know about me is I'm less blunt and way cuter in person than I am on here. I hate small talk on message. I'm someone who's like, go on the date rather than like chit chat for ages.
You see,
on
I don't
message.
like that. I don't like it, the prompt when it's like, let's skip the small talk and go out on a date. Because I'm like, well, I kind of want to talk to you first in case you can't really...
No. I'm like a blind date kind of girly.
Oh.
You get a full sense of who that person is on message because they can hide behind a screen.
Oh, that's true, yes.
So they could be super chatty, super engaging on message, and then you get in person and they're so quiet that you're like, who was that person on message? So I'd much rather just go straight into the date, not really knowing how they are, because then I'm not set up for, he must be super confident and actually not, or the other way round.
Can you think of a date where it's been the best date and then it's led to a few more? Maybe you're with that person now, who knows?
Do you think I'd be sat here talking about dating, my serial dating, if I was in a committed relationship?
I don't know, maybe he'd be
very open to it.
Very accepting of your past.
No, unfortunately not. Very single. Hit me up.
Yes.
Not desperate, I swear.
Okay, well...
There's one date that I've been on, and actually it was something that I organised. And it's so simple. It was in summer, and I organised a picnic, just put out a blanket, bought picky bits, and we sat playing Uno in Hyde Park. And it's so easy and nice. He didn't like any of the food I brought, so red flag, because who the fuck doesn't like Doritos? But it was so nice, and he thought it was super lovely. We actually ended up dating for quite a while, and it just didn't work out. We just were on different paths and whatnot. That to date is the nicest date that I organised. may I add.
Me, say so myself.
Because dating these days is so difficult in terms of different things to do. You go to a bar, you go to a restaurant, you maybe go to swingers, golf, you go to putt shack golf, you can go to flight club, boom bar, and that's kind of it. The one thing I would actually quite like to do, and I think would be a real test on a first date, is put yourself in an escape room with someone.
On a first date?
Yeah.
I once did dine in the dark for a first date.
That's really cool, but that's really tough.
Yeah, because we had to go out for drinks afterwards, because obviously we couldn't see each other.
Wait, hold on. You didn't go in completely blind in that you met outside first.
Well, I met him at a party, and then he said, "Oh, I got your number. Can I ask you out?" So we'd met each other before.
Okay.
So we went to this dine in
Fine.
the dark, Dans le Noir. This is called. I kept thinking there was food on my face, but nobody could see, and we had to go out for a drink afterwards anyway because we couldn't see each other.
Yeah. You'd also concentrate more on not knowing exactly where everything is than actually the conversation.
Yes, true. Yes.
It's constant laughter of, oh no, is my hand in the food? Is
Also, am I just talking so much
to fill this space
of darkness?
That's how I imagine Love is Blind, except that's probably easy because you've got a whole room and you just can't see the person.
That's not the premise of the show.
Ignore that, cut that.
They're not actually dating in the dark. That's better. Love is Blind should be that.
I don't think I could do that on a first date.
Yeah, neither could I, really.
You did.
I didn't do it well. I mean, I did. Yes, you're right.
But you did do it.
I wouldn't recommend. I feel like a first date for me is just sitting down, having a conversation with someone, probably with a drink, just to know if they can have a conversation with you. If they're running around trying to escape.
Oh, that's a good point. Okay, maybe a second date for an
running
escape
around trying
room.
to escape you
Okay.
and escape the escape.
Can you imagine? They hate me and they're like, I need out.
need
and
to
I
get
can't do this riddle.
On second thought, I don't think it's a good idea to have a first date in an escape room.
Yeah, let's just get rid of that. I do think
Get
something
rid.
fun on a first date, though, is a good thing to do because first date drinks can be sometimes intense.
Yeah. Where's your go-to date places?
I will always go Soho. I'll always go, King's Cross. King's Cross
Really?
is great for a first date, although I have dotted around quite a few of the places at this point that I
keep seeing your
Yeah, I'm
ex-dates.
scared waiters and waitresses are going to be like, wasn't she here yesterday
With
with
a different
guy?
guy?
She's wearing the same outfit though, because I
totally
do
happened
wear
to
the
me
same
once.
outfit for date 1, date 2 and date 3 so I don't get confused.
I mean, if that's what you
They're
need
good
to
date
do.
outfits.
If that's what you need to do. Where in King's Cross or just in the
Oh,
surrounding
well,
square?
they've got loads of bars, restaurants. The Lighterman is good.
Yeah.
Spiritland.
What's that?
It's a bar.
Oh, I think that's where I was
Although
told I was too funny and I wasn't
really
serious enough
loud
there.
in there. I couldn't hear myself think. I don't like places if it's too loud.
Yeah.
If it's too dark
Okay.
and you have to sit so far from that person because if you are vibesing with a person
Yeah.
and you're sitting opposite each other, there's that boundary of, well, if they want to like grab your hand or grab your leg or like be a bit flirty with you on a first date.
I don't know if I'd be okay with a guy grabbing my leg on the first date.
Not like a grab, like a little like, you know.
Just next to each other going, I like you.
Well, they don't do it like that creepy. Like a physical touch,
Like a
like
graze.
element. Just something that's just showing that they're
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah.
Like I think when you're sitting opposite each other, it's quite formal.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Whereas it's just a bit more relaxing if you're next to each other rather than the formal drink setting of like opposite each other and it's very like, we're on a date.
I quite like that. Sitting down opposite each other being, so who are you then?
Wait, you
What's-
like that?
what's-
You're not interviewing them.
I know, I end up doing that.
No, see, this is maybe where you're going wrong.
Who said I was going wrong?
We're
actually?
both still single?
Yes, but is that wrong?
It's
don't
not
know.
wrong.
I wouldn't say that was wrong. I'd say it was just a thing. Yes. So dating in London with Talia has concluded. Any final words to those struggling to find a decent hinge date or an organic date or any date?
Keep putting yourself out there. Don't give up hope. I know we're talking about dating. A lot of people find it really nerve-wracking. I go on dates like I'm walking to my local Tesco's. Just enjoy it.
Browsing the aisles.
Browsing all that there is to have. You're either going to see that person again or never going to see them again. They're kind of a win-win.
You've got nothing to
you've
lose,
got
basically.
nothing to lose. So just go out there, enjoy, because some of the dates can be really exciting and one day you won't have a first date again. So you might as well enjoy all the ones that you can go on
Sounds
now.
very-
Well, you could, no, because like one day, no more dating and you just with this one person for the rest of your life and how depressing is that?
No wonder you keep dating. Who wants to do that? My God.
Well,
The
who wants to
first-
let go of free drinks and free food for
True.
weeks on end?
On second thought, I'll see
I'm
you
joking, I
again.
always split the bill. I don't. If I will always offer.
What?
I do always
Do you
offer.
or don't you?
No, I always offer, but generally the guy always will do it. But if I like that person, I'll always be like, no, I want to treat you.
Yeah, if it's payday for me, I'm like,
Fair.
it's on me.
Yeah.
There's no excuse for me that day.
Fair. Just enjoy it because dating can be fun. You only live once. Fuck, I can't believe I just said that. I hate myself.
YOLO. Biggest ick ever.
I just gave myself the ick. I don't want to date me either.
So this has been Sam, Ellie, and Talia, who is a serial dater. And she loves it. I hope you enjoyed, and I shall see you another time, I'm sure. Thank you. Goodbye. I would like to know about your general dating experience in London. Why'd you do it?
Well, because... when you look at me...